A 182-meter tall statue, the tallest in the world, costing 2,989 crores, was dedicated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the nation. The statue of India's Iron Man Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, called the Statue of Unity, the great unifier. There was a grand spectacle on the lines of what you see on an occasion like Republic Day. A very strong message being sent out that through history, the importance, the significance, the contribution of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel has been played down. And now the current government seeking to address and correct that historical wrong. Here's the story.
India's Iron Man rises again. On his 143rd birth anniversary, freedom fighter and India's first Home Minister, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, gets a fitting tribute. In a spectacular event, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Statue of Unity in Kevadia near the Narmada Dam. Set against the backdrop of the scenic Vindhyachal mountain range, the giant memorial is the world's tallest statue at 600 feet. Soaring over River Narmada, the engineering marvel was completed in a record time of 42 months. In the audience was the sculptor of the statue, Ram Sutar.
It's a teamwork, L&T people, the structural engineers, the casting foundry, and our design. It all coordinated so well that we were able to put everything in place in time. So there was no worry as such.
It was also a proud moment for Sardar Patel's family, many of whom attended the event.
We are his great-grandchildren, so we are proud to see him like this, as his statue. It is proud for us that we are known for him, that we are his grandchildren, so we are very proud for him.
Statue for Unity, जब अमेरिका में लोग वहाँ देखने जाते हैं, इसलिए सबसे बड़ी प्रतिमा जब सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल की यहाँ लगवाई, इससे बड़ा काम कोई हो ही नहीं सकता.
Bureau Report, India Today.
So question number one on the newsroom tonight: has Prime Minister Modi finally given Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel the kind of national recognition that has been denied to him so far? The BJP alleges the Gandhi family has for the longest time been unfair to the Iron Man of India. Does this 182-meter tall statue in Gujarat try and undo some of that historical damage, the underplaying of the role of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel? Joining us on this broadcast, I want to introduce Irfan Habib, historian, joining us in our studio. Tushar Gandhi is joining us. He's an author and the great-grandson of Mahatma Gandhi. With us also Professor Bharat Gupta, leading historian. Amit Malviya represents the BJP, and Adil Singh Boparai is joining us from the Congress. I want to go across to Professor Bharat Gupta first. It has long been asserted by the Indian right that Pandit Nehru and the Gandhi family have underplayed the role of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, over-projected the achievements of Pandit Nehru, Indira Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi, and not given adequate space in the national political narrative, in the political mind space, to the likes of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Do you believe, sir, that this 182-meter statue tries to project Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel in the national pantheon in the manner that he truly deserves to be projected?
Well, Rahul, there can be no doubt. Because just as when you go to New York and you see the Statue of Liberty, which introduces to you the idea of equality, fraternity, and brotherhood, similarly here is the maker of the modern Indian state, one who played such a great role in bringing more than 550 rulers and principalities into one single nation. Now that is something which has not been talked about in our school books, in our college books, not enough research has been done as to how hard he worked and how he went about it, how he was able to bring in and keep in states like Jamnagar and Hyderabad, and how, against his advice, Pandit Nehru made a mess of Kashmir. Now, all these things have to be talked about. Now, that is what he deserves. So, by this statue, when in the coming decades, thousands and thousands of school children will go and visit, when so many tourists will come, when people from all over India will come and see that great statue, climb in and see the land around, then they will become aware of this great maker of modern India. And they will understand and be thankful that this nation was forged by this great man.
Okay.
Now that is what's important.
Professor
it
Irfan
is not
Habib.
important that we run down.
Okay, Professor Irfan Habib, 31st October for the longest time was seen as the day Indira Gandhi was martyred. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's birth anniversary was frankly always an afterthought, a side event, with in all the UPA years the focus squarely being on Indira Gandhi's martyrdom. With this grand 182-meter statue, are we trying to correct a historical wrong? The underplaying of the role of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel now being corrected on the national stage by Prime Minister Modi.
See, I don't know whether it is actually historical wrong, because Sardar Patel has always been a very important figure for us, and like Professor Gupta was saying, that he has not been taught in schools. I mean, how many things are taught in schools? School textbooks are not really so detailed, but Sardar Patel is always very central to our freedom struggle. Always, in all the work on him, research on him, books on him are actually lined up in libraries. You can go and read. Lots of researchers who have worked on Sardar Patel. He has been a subject of research for a large number of researchers all these years.
No, but so you're talking about research, I'm talking about public imagination.
Public imagination.
Like, for example, in the grand spectacle that played itself out today, there's a certain messaging that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is the great unifier of India, the Statue of Unity represents how he brought these 562 princely states together, made India one country. We owe a mountain of debt as tall as that statue to this great man. He was never really given this kind of projection previously.
Obviously not given. No, that's a fact of history. We didn't give that, and we didn't actually give that to so many. So it's not that it's only Sardar Patel. So
you concede that the Gandhi family overplayed its own position and underplayed that of the likes of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Subhash Chandra Bose.
I don't think there is any comparison. I don't think there is any comparison between Jawaharlal Nehru and Gandhi family, Jawaharlal Nehru particularly, and Sardar Patel.
Why not?
Because he was a Home Minister, Deputy Prime Minister for 2.5 years. Nehru was a Prime Minister for 17 years. No, he saw through the development of. Unfortunately, Patel didn't live so long. No, so it's a
Amit Malviya, you want to come in on what Professor Habib is saying, that there is actually no comparison, because Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel unfortunately passed away 3 years after India's independence, whereas Pandit Nehru was Prime Minister for 17 years, and therefore there simply is no comparison. He says there's enough and more research being done on Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel which can be found in the libraries across India. Amit Malviya.
Well, Rahul, when you say that there can be no comparison between Sardar Patel and Jawaharlal Nehru, that's essentially part of whitewashing the legacy of someone as a giant as Sardar Patel is. And you know, this was not just done to Sardar Patel, it was done to Dr. Ambedkar, it was done to Subhash Chandra Bose and several other very, very prominent leaders who led India's independence movement. They were completely erased from India's national consciousness, and that is why this statue is very important. Let me just give you some basic facts. Jawaharlal Nehru died in 1964. He was given a Bharat Ratna in 1955. I presume he must have given it to himself. Indira Gandhi died in 1984 and she got the Bharat Ratna in 1971. Again, it seems like she gave herself the Bharat Ratna. Rajiv Gandhi died in the year 1991 and he got the Bharat Ratna in the same year. And let me remind you, Indira Gandhi had the taint of emergency and Rahul Gandhi and Rajiv Gandhi had Bofors to his credit. Yet they were Bharat Ratnas. And what happens to Sardar Patel? He died in 1950. and he was eventually recognized as a Bharat Ratna in 1991, 41 years after he died. What does it tell you about his legacy and how he was pushed out of people's imagination? And therefore it is very, very relevant that a statue like this comes up, and it ensures that the youth of this country know what he had in terms of contribution. Getting 550 plus princely states together to build a unified India is no mean task.
Tushar
but he was
Gandhi,
never
I
credited
want you to
for
come
it.
in
He
on
was
this
not
big
given the
raging
importance that
debate.
he deserved.
The fact is that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel never really got the kind of recognition that he should have for the role that he played in making India one nation. And in public imagination for the longest time, especially in Congress years, the BJP alleges that the Gandhi family overshadowed all other leaders and deliberately underplayed the significance of the contribution of the other leaders. Is that a charge that you think is a valid charge, or is it a political charge? Tushar Gandhi.
Rahul, I don't agree with the fact that for people of Sardar Patel's stature, anybody can demean him or anybody can lift him up to his true stature. Their work, their body of work makes them immortal. And I don't think history, maybe governments have been unfair to him, but history has never been unfair to him, because Sardar Patel, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, all of them live on with as much respect in people's hearts. You know, the height of a statue can never be a measure of the stature of the person. Not even the numbers of statues of anybody
Gandhi,
else can
the
be
point
a
is,
measure
what
of
is
their
the
stature.
messaging?
Their stature comes
What's
from
the
the work they did in
that
their
is true,
lives.
that is true, but if the work is emphasized,
The
brought
message-
alive
the message is,
in public imagination,
Rahul, the
constantly
message-
told to younger generations, then
Rahul.
they know. If this wasn't being done by the...
Rahul, can I talk?
One second, sir. If this wasn't being done by the current government, is there not a risk that future generations may have known a lot more about the likes of Rajiv Gandhi, Indira Gandhi and Pandit Nehru than they would about the likes of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel? You're saying they live on in the hearts. That may be true, but it's also about the kind of messaging you're putting out, which the statue does.
Well, the statue does say that Narendra Modi made a world's biggest statue. It's more of the maker than the made, and that is the intention. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been harped upon on the height of the statue or the dimensions of the statue. Sardar Patel does not require that kind of thing. I don't say, I would congratulate the Prime Minister for what he has done, because Sardar Patel deserves much more than this, but I would not equate it with saying that now he has been raised to the stature he deserved. He was always of the stature he deserved. He was always in people's heart. He was always respected. Even if the statue wasn't there, I don't think 1,000 years later people would have forgotten his contribution.
Gupta, respond to that the statue does nothing to lift the stature of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. He always was living on in the hearts and minds of the people of India, and therefore nothing big has been done by creating this giant statue. It plays more to Modi's ego than it does to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel's stature. That's the charge that's being made by Tushar Gandhi. Professor Gupta.
Rahul, yes, I think, look, emotionally or in terms of history as a charnel house of facts, everybody knows what Nehru did, what Gandhi did, or what Patel did. But the question is, how do you teach it, and in what value do you teach it to the young of the nation? And how do you build a consciousness of it? The consciousness of unity does not come through the acts of Jawaharlal Nehru. It comes primarily at the crucial moment through the acts of Sardar Patel. Now, the very fact that he is the maker of this political map of Bharat, as we know as Bharat, and how he prevented Bharat from getting confused and having a modern identity, is the message that we have to give. Now, it is a matter of proportion. Look at the number of universities and colleges that you have named after Nehru. Not even 1/10 are named after other leaders. So that is very important. And
let Adil
as I
Singh
said
Boparai come
earlier,
in.
that through
It's
the
about
statue,
public imagination.
millions
It's
will
about
now
messaging.
ask these questions.
Millions of people will now see that statue of of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Compare the number of airports, roads, government projects the government started under the name of Pandit Nehru, Indira Gandhi or Rajiv Gandhi. With that was started in the name of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. That by itself, that political act by itself, Adil Singh Boparai suggests that there is no comparison, that Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel was always overplayed, that Pandit Nehru and the Gandhi family was always overprojected. Respond to that charge. Adil.
Well, Rahulji, first at the outset, let me make it very clear that Sardar Patel Sahab is one of the primary builders of modern India, and he lives in the hearts and minds of every Indian. Let me make this point emphatically clear. There were some historians previously who'd said on your panel right now that he hasn't been extensively taught. Let me remind them that I had extensively studied his contribution about modern India, about unifying our states way back in class 7. So they're furthest from the truth when they say this. Unfortunately, the BJP has no icons of its own. It was the Congress party and leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Mahatma Gandhi ji, Pandit Nehru, Subhash Chandra Bose who fought the British and carried forward our freedom movement. The RSS and their associates were the ones who kneeled before the British. They were the ones who wrote letters of loyalty to the British. They were the ones who hid in their burrows when the Congress party was fighting the British. So it's quite natural for a party which doesn't have an ancestry to usurp other people's legacies or other organizations' legacies. But be that as it may, the problem today is that the BJP is indulging in petty politicking. First they divided the people of this country on religious lines, then they divided the people of this country on linguistic lines, thereafter they divided the people of this country on regional lines, and today the irony is they're trying to play one icon against the other, which is indeed a pity. Sardar Patel Sahab, along with a series of galaxies of our leaders, lives in the hearts and minds of every Indian.
Amit Malviya,
Nobody can take away the contribution of Sardar Patel Sahab
appropriate the
in the
legacy of
building of this
Sardar
country.
Vallabhbhai Patel because the
Mr. Modi
RSS
needs to respond
has
what
no
Sardar Patel
similar
Sahab
leaders
had said about
in
the
its own
RSS. He had banned the
pantheon.
RSS.
Okay, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is the man who banned the RSS. You're trying to appropriate his legacy. He was a lifelong congressman who banned the RSS. Let Amit Malviya respond.
Well, Rahul, very quickly, you know, in the run-up to the independence movement, Congress was a common purpose vehicle on which people from various political hues came on. Where Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya represented the Hindu Mahasabha view, you also had somebody like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and Dr. Ambedkar and Sardar Patel on the same platform. And therefore, to claim that everybody is a Congress icon is a bit far-fetched because they represented different ideologies, different ideas and different schools of thoughts. And I don't think there's anything wrong with giving the due that these leaders deserve. Whether it is Subhash Chandra Bose, Dr. Ambedkar or for that matter Sardar Patel, we are proud of the fact that we are recognizing them, and if you want to call it appropriating it, so be it. We are going to do it. We are going to build these icons and embed them in our national consciousness because that is very much the need of the hour.
This actually doesn't show.
Point, Rahul, here. We talk.
Irfan, this doesn't show Modi down. It actually enhances his stature because if the RSS was banned by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, despite that, he feels so indebted to Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel that he's willing to put as much political capital at stake and build this grand statue. It doesn't take away from the contribution of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel or the effort the BJP is now making to project him, even though there were points in time when he took decisions which the RSS at that time may not have liked in the form of the Hindu Mahasabha.
I don't think so. Because he's not doing it with Sardar Patel alone. He's doing it with Subhash Chandra Bose as well. He's actually trying to appropriate icons. And I agree with Adil Singh that actually they lack the icons they have.
No, but Amit Malviya says that the Congress was a big tent. It wasn't a ideologically driven party. They had right-leaning people, left-leaning people, socialists, conservatives, centrists.
But that big tent didn't have RSS in it. That
it had members of the RSS or leaning towards the Hindu.
No, at all.
Sorry, Rahul.
Amit Malviya should respond. Okay, let Amit Malviya respond. Yes,
can I correct the historians on your panel, please?
I don't think I need to be corrected on this.
Can I correct the leftist historians on your panel?
Okay, go on.
You see, the point is that the RSS chief, the founder of the RSS, was very much part of the freedom movement in the jungle campaign that happened.
You are
He also
wrong.
went
You are
to
historically
jail.
wrong.
And therefore...
You are wrong.
Okay, let
Absolutely.
me finish, please. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish. Let me finish, Mr. Habib. Please do not interject and don't speak over me. The other point, Rahul, which is very important, is that Nehru remained hostile to Sardar Patel. I want to quote to you K.M. Munshi, one of the ministers in Nehru's cabinet. He said that when Sardar Patel died, Nehru had sent out specific instructions saying that ministers and secretaries must not attend the funeral. He even told this to Rajendra Prasad, who was then the president. Of course, people defied him and went for his funeral. That's the kind of hostility that Nehru had towards his peers and definitely Sardar Patel. And although Sardar Patel lived only for about 2.5, 3 years post-independence, if he was younger, or for that matter, even if he had shaped India's initial thinking for those 2.5 years, we would have been a very, very different country today.
You made that point.
Been perhaps far more rooted in
You made that point, Amit
and we
Malviya.
would have done far better than what
Irfan
we are doing at the moment.
Irfan Habib gets respond. Irfan Habib.
Actually, I don't know where is he speaking from. No, what is the source? The source can be their own personal records. Any such mention which he has just said is not there in archival records anywhere. Not at all. And Nehru doing such a petty thing that not to allow people to participate in the funeral is absolutely stupid. I don't think that is part of any history at all. It's not there.
I can quote you
It's not
books.
there.
Can I quote the books to
No,
the historian?
this is invented history. This
Rahul,
is history which is being invented by you for your present politics.
pilgrimage to
That is your
freedom.
problem. Your problem is you want to invent history. You want to invent tradition. You want to invent history. You want to invent religion.
K.M. Munshi's
That is the problem.
Pilgrimage to Freedom is the book
You have
that
no
you
facts.
must read.
You imagine facts.
And
Imagining facts and
Rajendra
facts are two
Babu's
different things.
Patron Ke Aine, Volume 1,
Your
written by
history
Tara
is based on
Sinha. Please read
imaginary
them.
facts.
You read
Absolutely.
books and you write books which
Go-
are
go and-
convenient to
go
your
and-
historical
go and read-
perspective.
go
But
and
there's
read
a
what
world
Patel
out
wrote.
there which you must read and which the people of this
Can you
country
listen
need
for
to
a
know
moment?
about.
Go and read what Patel said in 1949.
I
Patel
have given you
says,
the books.
Listen,
I have
one
given
minute,
you the
1 minute.
reference to
Okay.
the books.
I have many books. I've read
It's
all of them.
amazing.
Okay,
I
Amit
don't
Malviya,
tell
don't shout,
stories.
please.
I
Amit
don't need
Malviya,
that.
okay.
Get the reference
One second.
wrong.
I don't need a book.
I'm willing to have this debate, but let's not shout. I have a real bad cough and a cold because of this silly pollution in the capital. One at a time, make sense, not noise. You've said several things. Let Irfan Habib respond. Adil Singh Boparai also wants to come in. I promise to give everyone a fair opportunity to speak.
In 1949, Sardar Patel is speaking in Madras. Sardar Patel is speaking in Madras, says, he talks about left and right both. And his government is being challenged by two forces, the left and the right. He speaks about the left, says that I have told the communists actually to come and join the Congress party, be together, build the new country which we have got from the British just now after this long struggle. But they actually don't listen to us. On the other hand, we have the RSS, the right wing. I have told them that please start respecting the constitution, start respecting the flag. No? Try to believe what you say. To say something and do something else will not work. I'm not going to tolerate that.
Can I
Go and
come
read
in,
that.
please?
Go and
Can
read.
I come
It's
in, Rahul?
49.
Let Amit Malviya respond, then I'll go to Adil Singh Boparai. Amit Malviya.
Rahul ji.
Well, Rahul, first of all, the historian wanted reference. I want to point to the book written by K.M. Munshi called Pilgrimage to Freedom. He must read it. The other book that I referred to is Rajendra Babu, Patron Ke Aine Mein, Volume 1, written by Tara Sinha. Well, if I have to quote to the historian's books, then you know where the problem is. Coming to the other point about this relationship between Sardar Patel and the RSS, let me also remind your viewers that it was the same Sardar Patel who changed his position on RSS when he was provided with facts. And anybody who changes his position when presented with facts has to be looked in that light, and you can't hold on to his initial view saying he did this, because that's
Okay,
taking away
Adil
from
Singh
the fact
Boparai
the
wants to
man was
respond to
open
Amit
ideas,
Malviya.
and which is what Nehru
Rahul ji
and
must
others
allow me
were
to come
shut
in.
to
Okay,
at that point
Adil
in
Singh
time.
Boparai, one at a time, please. Adil Singh Boparai.
let
Adil Singh
me-
Boparai. I'm
let me
coming to you.
actually-
Irfan Habib, I'm coming to you. One
No,
second.
this is linked to this.
Okay, go on. 10 seconds.
No, what I said is not initial
Rahul
view.
ji-
What he says,
Rahul ji
is
said
in
that.
1949, and Patel dies in 1950. So
Mr.
it's not the
Habib, please
initial
let
view.
others also speak.
It's a
Okay,
view just a year before he dies.
okay. Adil Singh Boparai now.
Rahulji, Sardar Patel Sahab's vision and ideology stood for social cohesion. It stood for harmony. It stood for brotherhood. What does Mr. Modi and Amit Shah stand for? They stand for hate and bigotry in this country. They talk about B.R. Ambedkar Sahab. RSS opposed the adoption of our constitution. Today there is no institution left. Every institution, starting from the judiciary to the CBI to the RBI, is run down to the ground. 4 judges of the Supreme Court have come out in public and said that judiciary and democracy is in peril. How does the BJP respond to this? And my friend from the BJP was quoting history. Let me quote what Sardar Patel Sahab had said, and please give me 30 seconds to allow your viewers to know what the truth is. Sardar Patel Sahab, and I quote, undesirable and even dangerous activities have been carried on by members of the Sangh. It has been found that in several parts of the country, individual members of the RSF have indulged in acts of violence involving arson, robbery, dacoity and murder, and have collected illicit arms and ammunition. Sardar Patel Sahab calls members of the RSS as dacoits. Let me go further. Sardar Patel Sahab's letter to MS Golwalkar, September 11, 1948, where he says, and I quote, "It was not necessary to spread poison in order to enthuse the Hindus and organize for their protection. As a final result of the poison, the country had to suffer the sacrifice of the invaluable life of Gandhiji." This is Sardar Patel Sahab to the head of the RSS. Let me go further. Sardar Patel Sahab's letter to Shama Prasad Mukherjee. The activities of the RSS constituted a clear threat to the existence of the government in the state. How does the BJP respond to that? Coming to 2018 India, there is an RSS ideologue by the name of H.V. Sheshadri, who's written a book, Tragic Story of Partition, which is sold from the RSS headquarters in Gujarat, which criticizes Sardar Patel. Why hasn't Mr. Modi banned that book? So please understand, Rahulji, this is nothing but an insincere gesture by Mr. Modi, an attempt to play one icon against the other, and the country will never accept this.
Gandhi, I want to delve just for a moment as we conclude this debate on the supposed differences between Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Pandit Nehru. Because I have over here a few quotes, and I just want to put out one quote for our viewers, where Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel is quoted as writing a letter to Pandit Nehru saying, "My services shall forever be at your disposal. I hope for the rest of my life, and you will have unquestioned loyalty and devotion for me in the cause for which no man in India has sacrificed as much as you have done. Our combination is unbreakable, and therein lies our strength." You know, he's also quoted as telling an American journalist at this big rally where about 3 million people had gathered to hear both Nehru and Patel in Mumbai. He tells an American journalist, Winston Sheen, that they come for Jawahar, not for me.
Yeah.
So this is what Patel himself is saying in his own words, and yet somehow what we are seeing being projected is that they hated each other, that Pandit Nehru was petty and, you know, was trying to push him down. A lot of Sardar Patel's own writings, in his own words, don't necessarily echo that. Tushar Gandhi.
No, I agree with it, and I agree with the fact that you cannot doubt or cast aspersions on what Sardar Patel himself wrote. And in his last meeting with Bapu, after he left and Bapu was murdered, the first thing he told Pandit Nehru was that Bapu had pleaded with him for the two of them to be united, and in death they had to honor that promise. And the eyewitness account of that evening states that both of them hugged each other and wept over their shoulders. You know, these kind of drama was not a common practice in those years. Those years there was sincerity in things. And for this argument of saying that, you know, somebody purposely did not give desired acknowledgement to Sardar Patel and we are doing it, what has the Prime Minister, how has he set the example today? He has inaugurated the statue, congratulations to him, but hasn't he been petty in not acknowledging that on that same day a former Prime Minister had been assassinated? Shouldn't that have been a courtesy that should have been extended by somebody who believes that everybody should be equally treated? Isn't that something that we should ponder on?
Bharat Gupta, respond to it. This will be the last word on the show. That while you're now trying to build up Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and more power for that, you're also now trying to slight or ignore the contributions of Indira Gandhi. So the same charge now holds in reverse. Bharat Gupta, final words.
Now, look, yes, Rahul, I am not going to talk about this fist fight between Congress and BJP credit. I am going to put it in the broader historical perspective. A whole discourse has been built that it was through a non-violent struggle started by Mahatma Gandhi, carried on by Nehru, including Patel, which won us independence. Now that is only part of history. Of course we recognize it. But then, what about people in the beginning of the 20th century? What about Shri Aurobindo, who had a very great contribution to make? How much do we talk about him?
Okay.
What do we talk about Subhash Chandra Bose? So this whole discourse, which has been put into a slot by Congress because of its dynastic politics, needs to come to an end. And we have to take history as it has been from 1857 down to the present day.
Okay, and let that be the last word on the show. This is a very polarizing historical debate. You've heard from some eminent historians on both sides of the argument. As always in the newsroom, I don't take sides. I leave it to you, our viewers, to decide who they believe has the more compelling argument. But make no mistake, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel now more alive in the Indian public imagination than he had been previously. However, the differences between the two also may be overplayed because of political reasons in the present.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.